Yeah, I just kind of want to get into a little bit more about volunteering and other things. Like I said, you see something going on and you're like, you want to do something about it, and you want to do it now. You want their suffering to end, and for everything just to go back to normal. That's the thing. You just want everything just to be the way it was. If you can help these people here achieve that, then your life, can go back to normal. I think that's somewhat the logic. But like I said, it's just there's so many factors in these kind of things. It's just not cut and dry and easy like that. I think it would be. There's all kinds of things to consider, all things that need to happen, all things going on that you just you don't realize. You just look and you see the objective, you see everything that's wrong, but you got behind the scenes. All right, you have local and higher government agencies that are trying to put a plan together. You can't just dive in without a plan. You gotta have a plan. Logistics, super important. These guys are sitting there. They're considering so many things. Local resources. All right, what do we need to bring in? What do we have to do first? What help do we need? Where are we weak? Okay, what's available? You have, I'm sure, tons of international teams sitting in hotels, maybe 100 miles away or so, just waiting for the call, waiting for this. All right, let's go to work, guys. We got a job. Let's go. We're gonna clear this area and stuff. Get your equipment. And that's the thing. They're trained. They're equipped. You have people that are sitting around, up in arms going, what's going on here? Why are these people just sitting here? Why aren't they working? Why aren't you having them work? Let's just, look, there's the wreckage. Get people in there, dig it out. But, we can't. This particular part of town has a gas main through it. It's leaking over here. They're trying to close it down before we can get into it. There's a power line going through here. It's still hot. They're still working on fixing that. Water subsidence still too dangerous to risk lives and stuff. And then, plus it could be like, well, we need heavy lifting equipment. We need bulldozers and tractors to get in there, but we can't do that until we search it, and we need cadaver dogs, or search and rescue dogs. There's none available. They're in the next town over, or the next ones are on the coast. They can't be here till tomorrow or something. So many things you just really don't consider, and like I said before, they're for the people that are in trouble, that are in the suffering, now cannot be quick enough. Yesterday's not even quick enough. And it's frustrating, it's tough. Because even then you're thinking, it's like, man, how hard is it to get me something to eat and some blankets and ramen? Why? Well, the roads are still down. It could be debris, it could be, the quake totally washed out, or the tsunami washed out roads. You're cut off, you're isolated. Nobody knows you're there, Communications are bad. They would have to helicopter stuff in, but they don't know. They don't know that you need it. They don't even know what's going on. on because they haven't got to you yet, because logistics are tough. A lot of things to consider. Think about it before you get down and start bashing governments and agencies and people, for not doing enough. Like I said, you're leading from emotion. You're not thinking straight. Unfortunately, in these kind of cases, with the weather conditions, it's a race against time to find survivors. And as more time goes on, that fact is less likely that survivors are going to be found. And then operations will be switched to recovery, search and recovery. You still have to bring these people home and return them to their families and find out who's missing. And that's a whole different shift of operation. And afterwards, it's like, look, my parents lived here, my brother, sister, and cousins all lived here. Where are they? I want their, remains. We gotta bury them. Families need to move on as well, and that's part of the process. And so that's another range of emotions there that it's tough to handle, and people want answers immediately, but there's a process too. There's data collection. You have those missing. You got to provide information. That's the key. Everybody needs information, and only the survivors can provide that. If you have family members, you got to provide all kinds of stuff. Last known location, physical descriptions, hair, scars, blemishes, birthmarks, tattoos, any kind of augmentations, any kind of prosthetics, metal rods, metal plates, dental work, of course, very important. All the way down if they have like a fake eyeball or something, that's super important. They need these details, and they got to do reports, and you got to have personnel to do that stuff, and take that information to make sure it's accurate, enter it into a database, and then as people are recovered, they can. It's called a post-mortem, ante-mortem data. They can compare the two and hopefully make a DNA match. You got to provide possibly, if it comes down to it, provide pictures and provide some source of DNA if it's possible, and get these people matched up, and so that they can be released to your hometown, and given proper arrangements for burial. It's gonna be a big job, and it's tough, and it's there's people that can be gung-ho and able-bodied, and they're ready to tear up a pile of wood to get to somebody, but are they prepared to see what they're gonna see? They able, if they for whatever reason find cold soba noodles disgusting, even if a French fry falls on the table at McDonald's, they won't touch it. How are they gonna be able to pull a victim from wreckage that's been there for a week now, you know, soaking in seawater, mud, you know, battered and ravaged by the damage, by the flood waters. You know, it's not pretty. It's we're pretty tough as it is, but you know, you don't have blood pumping through the veins, and the body kind of, you know, turns to jello pretty quick. So, you know, you prepared for that. There's a lot of tough people out there, and they can, you know, it's like no big deal. Maybe the first, you know, they'll have to sit there and absorb things and process something, you know, in their mind. But then the next day they can go out there and they're okay. They can do the work. But other people, you know, that it's just something that they just cannot handle. They just cannot deal. And then you know, you have, in a way, that's a casualty too, because you know, you would have an able person to help, but then they realize their limitations, and then now you have somebody that you have to somewhat evacuate. You know, you have to get them out of this situation and get them back home. And then, you know, they're going to have post-traumatic stress for, you know, a long time. And they all did it to themselves because they're leading with emotions. You know, I'm not saying being a cruel, cold-hearted bastard, but you know, you got to be realistic. And you know, even if you are a pretty tough as nails kind of guy or girl, you know, you still gotta talk to somebody and you gotta debrief and decompress and get it off your chest. You know, take a break. Everybody, this is tough work. So that's, I don't know, I think that's pretty much it. It's something to think about. I don't know if anybody really, if it occurs to anyone exactly what's going on in these, you know, what the process is. A lot of times, you know, it's sort of made up as you go. You know, Hurricane Katrina was a nightmare. And it, you know, like, I even thought it was like, man, it should be cut and dry. There's all these homes that were underwater. You got tons of people still missing. You know, why can't we just kick in the front door and search this house? Well, you can't, because whoever lives here might not be hurt. They might not be, you know, they may have escaped and evacuated, and then now you just kicked in their door, trespassed. You got their house is open, you know, to looters and other criminals, and you know, and then they can come back and sue the government. You know, there's due process and stuff. So the law of the land is got to be considered. Sounds dumb, you know. Sounds like, you know, you should be able to lay the law aside and, you know, get things done, you know, when it needs to be done. But at the same time, you know, you can't do that, you know, because it's for our own protection as well. You know, make an exception here, and why not make an exception there? You know, next thing you know, you have cops using some weird excuse to kick in your door and drag you out without a warrant. I don't know, it's a kind of a far-fetched scenario, but you know, that's what could end up happening. I don't know. But anyways, like I said, there's the point is, there's so many things that make stuff hard and not cut and dry, and so you just rest assured that everything is being done that can be done. I guarantee it. I guarantee, you know, nobody's going to sit there and be like, that's too tough. Let's wait until the spring when it gets warmer. You know, things dry up, it'll be easier. I guarantee you there's people that are freaking out just as much as you and are screaming and yelling and saying, why isn't this done yesterday? Why are the so-and-so government, dragging their feet? Why aren't they letting us move? Where's our logistics? What's going on? I guarantee you there's people screaming and yelling and people, getting their ass chewed out and for not working hard enough and fast enough. But everybody's doing their part. I guarantee it. I promise you. Behind the scenes, it's getting done. It just, and how are you to know that? All you see is the news reporting that nothing's being done, or very little's being done, or it's not being done fast enough. And that's all you go on, and you just make assumptions that, wow, these people are just so lazy. They just don't care. It's getting done, but it's getting done at its own pace, and it's a pace that it sets itself. Especially in the beginning, it's going to be tough. Get things organized, but once you get a system and a routine down, things are going to go fast, and it's recovery will be quick. Things will get cleaned up and rebuilt, and before you know it. And from the ashes, there's, you have the survivors and people who are going to rebuild, and they will rebuild, and it's going to booster the economy, and there's going to be more jobs and lessons learned, and new technologies will come from this, and things will be better. It always gets better afterwards. So, especially for places like Japan, things like Haiti, culturally is so different over there. Yeah, that's a different story, different people, different land. So don't compare it to. I guess you can't. Japan is Japan, and I promise you that the sun will rise again. It's going to get a whole lot better. It'll be better. What is lost already, and there's no bringing it back, and there's no turning things back and making things the way it were. It's those days are over. It's everything's new. Everything's moving forward. You just got to preserve the memory. And, don't let this situation go without learning something from it and teaching others. So that's pretty much that. Right, see you later.